that you could get. Like, we needed one parsnip, and I didn't know what else to do. So, it's like,
look, this is a life or death sun choke. I know you don't understand.
Yeah, right. It ties the whole, because it's the puree needs
right
an unctuousness that can only. Oh, it's fucking frightening. But I'm glad that you guys are healthy and doing whatever. Obviously, it looks like Riley's beachfront property is really paying some dividends here. It's really nice.
That last Thrice tour was pretty good.
Yeah. Always wondered what you got for playing like a festival in like Antwerp. Apparently it's palm tree money. Yeah.
You got that palm tree money. David, it's a little disconcerting not seeing you in a flannel.
I know. Do you want me to
wear?
No, no. Put a different shirt on?
I want you to be the best you that you want to be.
I haven't worn a long sleeve shirt in like 2 weeks. I have every single one of the t-shirts that you very nicely sent me, all the classic grit ones, all in the laundry. Like that's how bad it is. But it is it's weird. Like we go out for like a walk every day, and that's all right. Kate's real anxious about it, and it's also like a weird. I don't know if you've seen this, that like the sidewalks are such that it's like basically impossible if there's another person on the sidewalk to do the actual 6 feet thing.
Yeah,
they're just not big enough. So there's a lot of like broken field running on my wife's part, just like really dramatic Devin Hester cutbacks, which is not necessarily what you want from like a chill walk, but
right.
At least we're getting out a little bit, and that's good.
I have to do that on my runs. Sometime I just hop off the path and jump into the street.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no cars, please,
right, it's
please.
so scary to have to do that too, because like I'm assuming like they haven't shut down shit here, so it's like there aren't a lot of cars, but there's ambulances and Ubers, and it's still all kinds of ways it could go bad. Yeah. I saw you getting some cuts in today, though. That's nice that you got a setup back there.
I got it for my son, right? He's not very interested in it, so I tried to put it to good use.
That's fair. Yeah, I would love to swing a baseball bat.
Don't do it.
That I could.
Don't do it.
I was supposed to go to a batting cage in Middle Village, Queens, which is not a place that I've ever been. I know it is the end point of the M train, but it is owned by a guy that was in like a hair metal band, the name of which I can get for you. And and John Halama teaches pitching lessons there.
That's a guy.
And we didn't ever follow through on going, which was really frustrating. And like now I don't know when I'll get the chance to go back. Let me find out what band it is. They were all like weirdly buff and like often nearly nude on their covers.
It's Manowar.
It's Manowar. It is Manowar. I thought it was Manowar, but I wasn't sure if yeah. All right. Yes.
So which guy from Manowar? Is it Joey DeMeo, Ross the Boss?
I believe that it's
Joey
Ross
of mayonnaise.
I think yes. Of the Napoli Mayos, it is. I believe it is Ross the Boss.
Fuck yes, that dude was also in the Dictators, like the very early configuration of the Dictators.
Yes, all right, that's how I knew who it was too, because I hadn't really heard. Like I think I knew Manowar, like I'd probably seen covers, but like the Dictators are like a significant band in some way, right? Yeah.
Well, Handsome Dick Manitoba has that Yankees bar.
Yeah,
and it's is a spousal abuser.
Yeah, it's tough. I know Greg Dooley owns the shortstop near Dodger Stadium. There is like some crossover with that, but this was, I think, the fact that the dude from Manowar and John Halama and also Kevin Baez teaches hitting lessons there. That's like a lot of guy crossover. Like that was. I should have probably alerted you guys to it because that's like the rare instance of it all kind of coming together, full spectrum.
We could have remembered all those guys, but now we're not.
We have nothing left but our memories of
these
particular guys. Yeah, let's do it.
You remember some different guys?
Fucking A, man. Let's do it.
I've never done this thing before.
Okay.
So this is going to be interesting.
Yep, that's working.
There we are. There we all are. We're on the side.
I remember Franklin Stubbs extremely fondly.
Hold on. Wait, we have a title card.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
It's good.
How did you put that one together?
This title card?
Yeah, how'd you come up with that?
It's funny because
the rigorous attention to copyright compliance that is defining his career.
It's funny because David, we did this in 2019 for a podcast. Now we didn't do the video piece.
Yep.
We did it in a podcast. So I already had this Google Slides template all set up.
Yeah, I remember that one very fondly. That you guys showed me what I think is the single dreariest baseball card design that I've ever seen. It was whatever that set was, the Juan Pierre one, where it just looked like
my God.
a television that had been turned off, and then just a little picture of Luis Castillo in the middle of it.
I thought you were going to say it was the one with Turk Wendell brushing his teeth in the clubhouse.
I mean, that's just a good photo choice, is all. I mean, you can't.
All right, now let's get into the guys.
Let's recall some guys.
Franklin Stubbs. So we Riley picked 5, I picked 4. We were going to alternate, and David just
look how happy he looks.
First idea, best idea. You're the joy of swinging a bat outside.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You can see everybody. All the cameras are trained on the pitcher, not on Franklin Stubbs in the background, which is really an intriguing design choice. I have that whole set. This is the 89 Fleer set or something like that, right? I'm guessing.
I think so.
Yeah. But I can't say that I got it for the Franklin Stubbs card.
Right.
But I remember he was a guy that I sort of think of him as like the thinking man's Larry Sheets. That there was like an element there. He was like supposed to eventually be like a home run hitting dude, but like either like couldn't hit same-handed pitchers, or there was some element with him. So he was like a platoon dude on, I guess, on some mediocre Dodgers teams. But I wonder if he didn't win that like a World Series ring with them.
He did. Yeah,
he did. Good for him.
Yeah,
he didn't play a lot though, right? Because they're actual.
No, he was always supposed to be like the next guy, and he never became the next guy. He was always.
Every generation gets the James Loney it deserves.
Right, good in the field and not so good with the bat.
Mm-hmm.
This was a golden age of uniforms, though. I mean, look at that. Just the incredibly snug pants.
Yep, fantastic stuff. The belt,
actual stirrups, the weird like Sansa belt thing.
Nobody wears those pants anymore.
I know, but at least not in that cut. It is.
We just need one guy to do it.
I think that didn't like Kike try to bring back the tight pants last year, which I respect. I think he like somehow had it was like on like Pride Night or whatever. He was like, I'm going to give everybody a treat. Like you get to look at Kike Hernandez's ass all game, which is like, I think he meant it in a nice way. You know, it's a strange gesture, but a positive one. But yeah, that's a sporty look for Franklin.
Nobody goes mid-calf anymore, though.
Nope. It's all it's all or nothing. Either you're going all the way down to the socks, or you're like, who are the big like short pants stirrup guys now? I feel like Brendan Ryan once won, but he's not around anymore.
Yeah. David Fletcher.
Oh, that seems like a guy that would. From everything I've read in terms of the scouting reports, it would be disappointing if Nick Madrigal wasn't. Like everything in like his set of skills as like a short guy who hits a lot of singles suggests that he should be wearing like very high stirrups.
Yes, chokes up.
Yep.
Can we be certain that this face that we're seeing from Franklin he's not hitting a line drive into an old woman's face?
Yeah, it's definitely like you shouldn't. I mean, to be that pleased with what you've done before you've even seen where it's landed, I'd say that like maybe the one thing he knows after having turned on this pitch or not turned on it really to look at the swing itself is that probably no one's going to get hurt. So that's good. It's a good place to start.
Is this a perspective thing with this photo, or does he have really small feet? What is happening on that front foot? I know it's a perspective thing.
He wears a men's size 5.5. What's wrong with that?
And he was able to still have a solid big league career. So that's, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you want to be judgmental of the fact that he's wearing what are clearly the child's version of those cleats.
Of ballet shoes with cleats.
I own those in Little League, that actual pair.
Yeah, it's good. You can only get ones that have like the autograph that are like endorsed by a big league player instead of like actually made for a big league player.
Right. All right. Unless we want like a 3.5 hour.
Yeah, I got nothing more.
We're going to move on. What do you know about my man, Ed Kranepool?
Oh, he's a fucking legend. So I never got to see Ed Kranepool play. Although he did play for an extremely long time. Like I think he was like maybe an inaugural Met. I know I have a card of his in like I want to say like the 79 set or something like that.
Yep.
Not the type of first baseman that is manufactured anywhere anymore. Like he would hit like 2 home runs a year. But he was beloved for like, you know, as like Mets of the sort of the lost years go. Although I think he was the first baseman on the 69 team too, probably, right?
That sounds right. I mean, I remember him from my first run childhood fandom as a Mets fan. I just love this card run.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that at all?
Pretty cool font.
Yes. It's a solid font. It's got kind of like a, you know, you don't want to say old Hollywood glamour, but it looks like kind of got a little bit of a Fritz Lang sort of vibe to it, like in terms of the design of it.
Well, I charred on acid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep, which is solid. And then you got to ruin it by just putting what appears to be a 55-year-old man wearing a satin jacket under a jersey right in the middle of the card.
It's a garbage bag.
I loved those items too. There used to be like, I think that you could get issued those by the team, and like I remember seeing pictures of guys wearing them sometimes even during games and just being like, what are you getting from that? Like, are you cutting weight for a wrestling match? Or like, it's just like a puzzling look.
I remember the stadium giveaways where you would go for like warm-up jacket night, and they would be these things that were something between plastic and tinfoil somehow.
Yeah,
were completely unwearable.
Was it raining or not raining?
It would typically not be raining, but you couldn't wear them.
It seems like it would be overwhelmingly loud to wear. Like just the sound of it would be like ASMR or whatever the opposite of ASMR is.
Yeah. Right. Pair it with a pair of corduroy slacks.
Yeah.
And you were just doing the thing.
Extremely loud, and also like being inside of an oven as soon as you put it on.
Can't beat it. That's well made is all that is.
So sunny in that photo.
Kranepool's probably like 30 years old in this picture.
Yeah, and he, like you said, looks at least 55.
Yep. They used to make baseball players like that. There aren't as many like that era. I remember like getting cards from the 70s when I was growing up in the 80s, and they all seemed like especially valuable because they were, you know, from before I was born or whatever. But there was something otherworldly about them because it would be like all these catchers that just looked like bartenders, but like maybe in the Old West type bartenders, like really just like extremely calloused and like sun-baked looking guys.
Yeah.
Andy Etchebarren is one I remember looking like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Like a full bologna tube with a mustache or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta give him props for the gardening gloves too.
Yeah, those are like
epic.
Yep, that's like before when you had to make your own batting gloves.
Right.
You would take a lady's kid leather driving glove.
Yep.
Make it into a batting glove.
That's incredible. There's very little exposed skin in this image.
Thank God.
My man was way ahead of the curve. He was worried about skin damage and UV rays.
Yep. Which is also at the time he was, of course, full sleeve tattoos, both arms. And at the time that was very polarizing in baseball. You weren't supposed to be doing that.
Trendsetter.
So, yeah.
So moving on, this is the Ohio band, Mount Carmel. They're sort of a blues rock band.
Good for them.
Tabbing back and forth for, clearly the inspiration. Ed Kranepool was the inspiration for this album.
Yeah. That is a cool design choice, though. I feel like more bands should do shit like that.
Yeah.
Like the wood border 87 would be like a solid, like, you know, if you had to put a 7-inch out.
Yeah.
73 tops is my favorite. We use it a bunch. Yeah.
And then here's Ed in happier times.
Yeah. So Ed, the thing I know about Ed Kranepool now is that he'd had health problems, and I believe has recovered from them, but he had some weird longstanding feud with the Wilpons, so that he was like bizarrely persona non grata at Citi Field for like decades.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what it was about. I mean, I think it seemed like some of it had to do with him, probably. But then also I think a lot of it had to do with like anybody that's in a feud with the Wilpons is like, you should just assume that they're probably in the right and the Wilpons are not. But I don't remember what all it was about. Do you have that in front of you, or do you know? No. I just remember that there was like weird bad vibes. And then it was like when it looked like he was really sort of near death, it seemed like they quashed it, and now they're all right.
Yeah.
He looks very sporty in that as well.
I'm digging this is me every day in quarantine, by the way.
Yeah.
Big pajama energy.
Nautica energy. That's solid.
That's what's up. Riley, who do we have here?
Stu Clyburn.
Damn, that is intense cop face.
Very intense.
On that.
Look at that lid too.
It's so crisp. Yeah,
Riding
like
high.
I think this is probably best for you guys to break down. But like, what are we looking at there hat wise? Like, if you had to on the 20 to 80 scouting grade.
That's an easy 6. Dad hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a 6. And the whole face, the mustache, the Super Troopers look just play, just
not quite ready for the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys tell me when. Oh, you already. Okay, cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was especially good at that time too, because they take all the pictures for all the guys in like 3 days at spring training. So like he might have been like moving through the frame when that picture was taken, and like directly behind him was like Sherman Corbett, like to get the same picture taken or whatever.
Right. Still.
It is strangely off center, like strange composition. I don't know if the whole series was like this, right? Because like where they put the stats and stuff it's all very strange.
Yeah,
I think this is like a homemade baseball card kind of thing.
Yeah,
I found these in the depths of the internet,
which is interesting given that the thing that people know about Stu Clyburn, if there's anything worth knowing about him, is that he's in the baseball card business.
Is he really?
He's one of the. If I'm right that it was him, and I'm pretty sure it was him. He's a co-founder of Upper Deck. Like he's rich off this shit.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so he was like their connect, I think, to like the world of baseball.
Oh, I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So, I mean, he had a short and comparatively undistinguished career, although like those are some decent numbers in that weird like way that numbers could look decent in the 80s, where it's like it limits hits, but also like doesn't strike anybody out as a matter of course.
He was like a classic vulture.
Mm-hmm. But that was like a cool type of guy to be. I would, as somebody that didn't really know very much about like I sure never saw him pitch, but I definitely like had his cards, and I think that like just given on that ERA and the 9-3 1-loss record, I think that there's a part of my brain still that's like, oh, he's pretty good, Stu Clyburn.
Yeah.
Like he
was
doesn't
like
lose that much.
Prototype. God, what is his name? Jose Arredondo.
Yeah,
he went like 15-1 one season, and then you had like Angels fans that were like, "They should make him a starter. He's so good at getting wins."
There was there's a guy on the Braves, Omar Villarreal or some Villarreal, who like started. He had won like 7 games in the first month, and I remember him as like sort of like a trendy fantasy pickup, but also like even then people were just sort of like, he's going to get cut like at some point this year. I just want to see if I can grab another 2 trashy wins. But I support Stu Clyburn for what he's done for the business. Upper Deck was
extremely good-looking guy if you're into the whole cop vibe.
Yeah, seriously. Like I think you could groom him differently. Can you remove a perm?
You can straighten it.
Yeah.
This was kind of the like 80s and early 90s look, especially for Angels relievers.
Yeah,
like, they had like Terry Clark and Willie Frazier and Brian Harvey, and it was like, does he have a mustache was like a box on the scouting chart, and if you had that checked,
was Mike Fetters like a part of that too, or do you think he was his own thing?
I think he was a part of that.
Fetters is one of my favorite aesthetic baseball players ever, with the glare towards home plate and the fact that he looked like an RBI baseball character. It's all there. Like everything works.
The least intimidating guy in the ballpark trying to be intimidating is just always a good look.
One of the early, we can go on to the next one. I don't want to talk too much about it, but one of the early highlights of my baseball writing career was writing some silly thing at the All. It was like all like made up stuff about stadium concessions. And I invented the story that Mike Fetters was running like an unlicensed concession, like a roving concession at Miller Park, where he just would carry around a cauldron of nacho cheese and charge people $1 to dunk anything that they wanted into it. And
that's amazing.
And a couple of, this was like early days Twitter, like a couple of baseball writers, I remember that got like Tom Tango, like people like saw that and like didn't know it wasn't real, and they were like, "Fucking hey, Mike Fetters." I always say he's like one of the best guys. Like it just shows he's giving back to the fans. I think that's great.
That's a perfect Tom Tango take to have.
Yeah, it's like the only time I've ever fooled somebody, and it was seriously the dumbest joke I've ever made.
And he went on to make the chocolate fountain at Golden Corral.
Yeah, he invented that. It's like, so he's also very rich today.
Yeah,
right. Felix.
Wow.
We're keeping it Mets here on my side. Keeping it Mets. Another childhood idol of mine. My man choking halfway up the bat. Felix Millan, legendary second baseman.
Yes. And actually a good infielder too. Like, I mean, a guy that for those Mets teams, like, was like, you know, one of their better dudes on both sides of the ball. He's got Keith Hernandez's number, an iconic Mets number.
Extremely slick with the glove.
But everything else that's going on in this card is worrying. Like, given where the batting practice, like, you see the pitching screen, like, it looks like he's standing someplace where he could get hit by a batted ball.
Absolutely.
And he looks, you know, in no way, shape, or form ready to protect himself from a ball under any circumstances, given what he's got going on with the bat.
What was the theory with those bats? Like there's no knob on it.
Yeah.
I feel like Pete Rose used to have bats like that.
Bat control
Other
thing.
morons. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder if there was some sort of, I know that like baseball players as like a general population are like extremely susceptible to fads.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like. But I mean, if he was doing that because Pete Rose did it, I mean, Pete Rose didn't hold his bat like that either.
Right.
I mean,
you can see the stripe that's like indicating where the pine tar should stop.
Yeah,
I think.
right. That's like
no, that's where you hold it, right?
it's like that line on the bus where like you can't go in front of it. The bus driver won't drive. This is like his thing is to like stand directly on that line and be like, let's go. The mustache is pure as hell too, man. That is like, it looks like it was drawn on.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of cards that have Felix without the mustache, and it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
He has a mustache in my mind always.
He's actually got 3 mustaches if you look
true.
at this photo.
Yeah, they're happening. They're running consecutively over his upper lip. They threw the book at him mustache-wise, and it looks all right, though.
David, do you remember the unceremonious end to Felix Millan's Mets career?
Oh, was this? I see, because this was a thing. Oh my gosh,
He got hugged to death.
He got hugged to death by Ed Ott.
What is the bird? Is that a bird down there?
Yeah, what? Like it, yeah. That's like there's a Pokemon in the image.
You got to turn off the game.
Pokemon.
It does look like he was he got suplexed by Ed Ott.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, Ed went in hard to break up a double play. Felix took offense, swung at him with the ball still in his hand.
Oh wow!
So he like threw a right cross with the ball for some reason.
Yeah, seems like a good way to hurt yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Ed probably did the thing like in the action movies where he just shook his head.
Yeah.
Like as if he didn't feel it, and then suplexed Felix Millan and I think ended his Mets career.
So he was roadhoused to death at the age of 32.
Yes. What's his face?
It looks terrifying in that image too. Like it's just low resolution enough that it's got like a Saturn devouring his son vibe that it probably shouldn't have.
WWF style. Am I super tired, or does that helmet look like a seagull?
It really does. It looks,
I see it now.
Yeah, I thought it was a parrot.
Oh my god!
It looks, the little eyes, just calmly watching 2 giant baseball guys battle it out near him.
Ed does look somehow cryptozoological here. He does not look fully human.
They don't have, he's good. The uncanniness of the black uniform, which is not a thing that I've seen for me. I think the White Sox are the last team to do that, and that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, and a couple of mid-calf looks.
Yeah, it is.
With and without stirrups.
He looks like he's wearing that's like the pajamas that I wore as a child were basically indistinguishable from what Ed Ott is wearing.
So is that wrist hair or dirt?
Yes,
if you have to ask.
Ed, do you need wristbands? No, I brought my own.
I've got them. The good Lord gave them to me.
All right, we got a bonus guy there.
All right. Yes, hell yeah. I have this personal card probably in a hard plastic at home.
On Rust 92.
Yep.
Really unremarkable series.
Yep, it was. This was
just super shitty, low rent.
They were starting to clean up the look a little bit at this point. This was after a couple of years of really chaotic borders. I think one of the 2 sets before this, whatever the red one was, I think is famously like the single most overproduced set in the history of baseball cards.
I think we have some of that later.
Probably. It was like the peak of the market, and they were just sort of like, I don't know, what do you make more? Like if they're going to keep buying them, see if that works. But this was like a guy that was you don't want to use the term rated rookie except for if it's not appearing on the card itself. He was very highly he was like highly touted at the time.
It was probably because of the stance and the pony cleats.
The stance, oh, those are ponies.
Those cleats, beside being pony, I love that they're like, you wear high tops for ankle support allegedly, but those are made out of like
paper.
Weird canvas.
Yep. Chinese newspapers.
That's no ankle support.
The look is very confusing because it's like tight pants worn low with stirrups and high tops. Like it's intentional, but it's puzzling.
And also no discernible branding. Like there's no Red Sox logo visible, so this almost looks like a fake card.
Yeah, it looks like one of those like the ones that like Post used to do, or like the cereal box cards, where it's like we can use a picture of them. They can't stop us. We just can't. Right. The team will sue us. So you get like a weird like airbrushed Joe Carter card where it looks like he's playing for like the team in the Urmansky videos. Yeah.
Riley, what recollections do you have about Phil Plantier and his excellent batting stance?
I used to love this dude for some reason.
He hit like 20 homers right after he got called up. I think it's like if you were of the right age, you were catching a rising star.
Yeah, he had one season in San Diego. I want to say it was like 94 or something where he hit like 34 bombs and drove in 100 RBI, whatever. But I was so into his stance that I like adopted it for a while.
Really?
Yes.
As like a competitive baseball player?
Yes. Wow. In high school, I was trying to emulate this. And I think back, now that I have a son, I'm like, what was my dad thinking then? Like watching me do this thing that's completely untenable.
It is very, I think I should actually, I've always wanted to ask my dad about that too, because I was an emulator of Mets when I was a kid and but as like a young kid. So I was like super skinny, no evident talent for the game on the offensive side of it. And I would just have like Darryl Strawberry's batting stance. Oh, yeah. So this like elaborate waggling elbow and like a big like loopy like hitch, like the sort of thing that you literally would have to be Darryl Strawberry to hit a baseball swinging a bat like that. Yeah. And not like a 65-pound Jewish third grader. And it was, but it was, no one stopped me. They were like, he's having fun. Like, it doesn't work, but like, what's going to work really?
There were a lot of people that adopted that weird Gary Sheffield, like frantic bat thing.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. And it's just like, that doesn't, it only works if you're a freak.
Yeah. Like the
you're not a freak.
It's like a flex to be like, I'm so good that I don't actually need to have any rhythm or any like sense of like where I am with this. Like, I'll just fucking wag my shit around and then I'm going to hit a home run.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of wagging your shit around.
Yes. Well done.
Mostly included because he's one of my favorite/least favorite Mets. But I do love this Top Heritage series.
Yeah.
Where do you come in on these, David?
All the Heritage sets are cool to me. I think I worked on this set.
No shit.
Or maybe I don't know what year this was. I worked on a few of them, but I think he wasn't with the Mets anymore when I was there.
The typography on these is just so great.
Yeah. So this is like the thing that it's hard. Like the designers at Topps were, to my mind, and I say this as a former person that worked there on the editorial side, they were the only competent people really in the entire office. Like we did our best, you know, but like, it was also like the workplace I was in, it was like someone would just listen to Opie and Anthony all day long. Like it wasn't like on speakers. Like, so, I listened to it too. I couldn't really have any other, had no say in the matter, but the designers were all like super on their P's and Q's, and all the Heritage stuff is like, excellent for, it shows like how good they are at that. Mm-hmm. But then, like for the new designs, like a lot of times that stuff was very uninspired, in part because it was like done by committee. In this case, it was just like you take an old look and you add a filter on the photos and go with it. But these were cool. The 52 style rookie set was one that I worked on. I wrote a bunch of cards in, and those are like, to my mind, I love that the 52 Topps design, but those are like the coolest of the, like the cards, the sets that I worked on, like while I was in the office, for sure.
It stands in stark contrast to this one.
Yes.
The O2 Topps.
God, yeah.
This is the most lackluster photo.
It looks like a shitty wedding invitation.
Yeah, he delivered a warm-up pitch at some point in the recent past.
Yeah.
And then we took a picture of it.
That is a bad
and
photo.
Added a shitload of foil for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's where you get the value, because that's real gold. So you shave that off and you did it for the entire set, and you pretty much paid, because gold is guaranteed not to go down.
It's true.
If you think about it.
It's gold and Iraqi dinars. That's where all my money is.
I was going to say, like, unless like Tom Selleck has endorsed it during a cable news broadcast, I don't invest in it. So it's gold. I've taken out a reverse mortgage on several other people's homes. So far, the results have been excellent. We can move on.
We're moving on.
We discussed this is cheating because one of you, Ian, I think, tweeted this the other day.
No, that was Riley.
I did.
Or was it Riley?
Yeah.
It is the single most remarkable baseball card I have ever seen, without a doubt.
Batshit insane. This is just maximum cocaine design.
So much happening. I hadn't seen the shadow Espinoza off to the left over his shoulder.
And there's another one to the right.
I'm like seeing trails on this card.
This is madness. This is completely unhinged.
I almost left this out and then had to bring it back because we had to talk about it in real time. Like,
It's like there's some cross colors vibes going on here. Some like in living color.
The extremity, like the volume of extreme things happening on this card is indescribable.
If position, right back.
Bro's right. Yeah.
Technically, this is actually like it's a logic problem.
Right.
Really more of a.
If position, then right. 160 weight.
It's the card that's also an I feel statement. Yeah. So 6 foot 160, which is incredible. This means that this guy weighs 15 pounds less than me at the same height, which is cool. Because he doesn't really look like he's especially physically fit in it.
His neck weighs 160.
God, that is, he's got the 3-lane solid, like Lamar Jackson neck. But the image choices, all of the graphic design stuff that's happening here, it's like a series of heated arguments breaking out all across the card. Like it is.
Yeah, everything is the most important. So look at everything first.
Yeah.
Why did they not make his birth details like a little bit smaller?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Or
I can see it. So
you don't need to yell, bro. I can read.
Right.
God. Also, the picture of him really couldn't be much worse than it
is. The goggles are so insane. The goggles alone make the card remarkable.
Goggles, eye black,
the design,
mustache. The sense of there's a thumb-like element to his aspect that it's really hard to miss.
I feel like I've seen this exact image, but it was Williams Astudillo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like him rounding third base or something with this exact.
But kind of like with a gait that suggests that like if the entire photo was in there, he might have like snowshoes on. Like this is all like it's all off.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that other people are going to know about this because like
those goggles.
How did you discover this card? Can I ask? Like what was the
some picture popped up in our Twitter feed of Carlos Baerga and Alvaro Espinoza. And it was like one of those old like Topps vault pictures.
Yeah.
And it made me think that like Alvaro Espinoza was kind of like not Carlos Baerga, but I'm sure there were a bunch of people that are like, oh, that's Carlos Baerga.
Yeah,
there he is.
He like signed some autographs at bowling alleys. Yeah.
Right. So that made me start thinking about Espinoza, and then I just did a search and I started searching images, and then this popped up and I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
We should make it our goal to acquire every Fleer 95 card.
Yeah.
The whole series.
I found a few others.
I think somebody sent like the Bob Hamlin card from this set, which is like the other, the chalk pick for most remarkable baseball card of all time is the Bob Hamlin one where he's like, and just kind of just holding a sign that says like Hamlin on it. And it's like visible in the frame. But this is, if that's like the card that succeeds by doing the least, this one proves that you can also win by doing the most.
Yes.
Speaking of winning, what do you know about my man, Davey Johnson? 4 days into a 7-day bender at this point.
I got to interview him when I was at Deadspin. It was like very intimidating. I'm not like traditionally the person that would do that sort of interviewing. Usually they would assign a journalist to do that. And in this case, it was like they knew that I would very much want to. He wrote a book. All the benefits from it were going to like his wife has a charity. I don't remember if it was an animal rescue thing, or if he had like one of his daughters had a terribly star-crossed life and died, and he's been active in raising money for mental illness and like addiction awareness stuff. He's still an absolute hard ass, and like it was kind of like daunting to talk to him, but he's very, very smart. Like he really is like, at the time with this team, like I remember he had like a desktop computer in his office. And so everybody was like, Davey Johnson has like transcended any like mental state that any baseball person has ever achieved. Look at the size of this computer. But he did actually like do stuff with it. And I got some of it's in the book, which I can't like wholeheartedly recommend because a lot of it is just like sort of an airing of grievances against like the guy that was his manager on the 72 Atlanta Braves. But there is like a lot of stuff in there that like I think he really did understand baseball stuff, matchup shit, lineup stuff, like maybe like 2 or 3 years ahead of anybody else, which is, like it's not the entire reason why his team won a World Series or why like all of his teams that he managed were good. But it explains like, I guess like why he kept getting fired for being a chode, and also why his teams were successful.
So you know how they talk about exceedingly beautiful people have exceedingly symmetrical faces?
Yeah, I
take a look at Dave's mustache.
Yep, it does.
Two completely different mustaches merged into one face.
It looks Photoshopped, like they were trying to sort of correct for it, and like the thing that I always the thing I always think of is the you remember that story like 5 years ago, in Spain there was a piece, like a painting of Jesus Christ that was very badly deteriorated. And it later came out that a woman from the village had been coming in and like touching it up every day and nobody had noticed. The Ecce Homo one. And it's just it looks like a blurry, like werewolf.
Yeah.
But she like got
amongst the scream.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And she got really far on it. Like before somebody was like, who is that supposed to be? And in this case, it looks like people were kind of just tweaking different things, like his cheek's not right, and you got to fix the mustache area there. And then at some point you run out of time and you just get it up there.
So maybe this is where they started from.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's solid. That's a good starting point.
Again, exceedingly symmetrical. That's how you know he's incredibly attractive. And a rated rookie, 1966.
Yes, that rookie cup or the trophy thing is definitely like, I didn't ask when I was working at Topps, but I remember like being in the office, like, is there do you have it around, like the actual cup itself? Can I hold it? And it doesn't. It's just a graphic design flourish, sadly. For all the weird shit they did have lying around, there is no real rookie cup.
You don't get to take it home and sleep with it or pee in it. Like
I was hoping. Yeah, like if I did a good job, you would employee of the month. They like take a picture of you squaring to bunt.
Right.
Someone holds the trophy up in front of it.
Is there a weird albino Oriole on his left sleeve, or is it just a weird?
Yeah, I think it is.
Thing?
It's a swan.
Yeah, that hat's got some weird stuff going on it too. Like
it's really weird.
It's got the contrast stitching, looks like, which is kind of like a tight look, but is also surprising.
Yeah,
an extremely wide bill.
Yeah, the bill is actually seemingly inspired by that of an actual bird.
Right.
Enough about David Johnson to be.
Yep.
Yes.
Another homemade Topps card.
So I pretty much remember Urbano Lugo, but this is like borderline me needing to do a piece of gum because I remember the name because I was like, that's the first Urbano I've seen. And possibly the first Lugo I'd seen at the time as well. Yeah. But like, I really don't recall him very well. I'm going to guess that Riley, you do have some memories of Urbano?
Yeah, he was like the Venezuelan Stu Clyburn, kind of. Like, wasn't around for very long. Yeah, also a cop.
Sweet 9.32 ERA.
Yeah, solid.
Not very good. One of those typical Angels pitchers where they don't know what they want to do with him. So he ends up being like an innings eater or like a spot starter or just on a shuttle between Anaheim and I guess it was Edmonton at that point, back and forth. But he was always just a weird guy who, if he went to some weird like Thursday night game or like a Wednesday day game, it's like, oh, Lugo's starting.
You got the Urbano Lugo start. Yeah, that was
Right.
I had that experience with Victor Zambrano during his time with the Mets, where we had it's like a 7-game package I split with friends, and it was like I swear I saw like 5 Zambrano starts that year. Like, and it was like it got to the point where we were noticing it, and there was I don't think that it was like planned that way. I don't imagine they could have, but it was very very frustrating.
He could be remarkable though. Zambrano could spin a gem if it was on the right night.
I didn't get to see many of those, but he just took forever. Him and Traxel both were just like, that's a 3+ hour commitment, off, just at the very start. This is kind of a lot of starts to allow Urbano Lugo to make when he's giving up a run and inning.
Yeah. I feel like he came up too soon, or like his era was too early, because if he would have come up in the Socia era, he would have been one of those Socia favorites that he would trot out there all the time. And you're just like, why does he keep doing this?
Yeah.
Terrible.
The like Ben Weber, Al Levine type of dude. Yeah. 8 home runs in 28 innings. Is that, I don't follow baseball very closely. Is that bad?
He does have some sweet turf shoes going on though.
He does.
Turf shoes are sweet turfs.
And that batting practice jersey is tight, very porous.
Yes.
But like solid.
That's also the old stadium that they used to have in Palm Springs.
Oh,
so
wow.
they had Palm Springs spring training until like 95, maybe.
Crazy. I thought this was Camelback or whatever the place that they have in Tempe.
Palm Springs.
And that's even connection. I was going to say they were owned, like it was probably like on property that he owned.
Yeah. Yeah. The Parker Hotel out there, there's like a Gene Autry estate thing, and there's a bunch of baseball tie-ins there. It's where I got married, so that's what I know.
Nice. I've never went to the old Angel Stadium. I did go to games at what is Edison or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, what is it now?
It's probably been through a bunch of different sponsors. Like
just Angel Stadium.
Bob Dornan Park at Anaheim Yards or whatever.
It was cool back in the day when it was like open in the back, kind of like it is now, and then they turned it into the multi-purpose toilet that they used for the Rams, and it was awful and soulless. And now it still feels kind of soulless with a bunch of Disney garbage all over it, like the rock wall.
Yeah,
the
fake rock stuff is kind of a drag. Like it just seems like a weird design choice.
I'm interested. They just signed to be there, signed a lease to be there for another 30 years, and the stadium is legit bad.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what they decide to do with that land, because I don't think the stadium can hang around for that much longer, like maybe a decade tops. But
also, like, there's not a great track record of asking people in Orange County to pick up the tab on like a like high 9-figure construction project. So we'll see. That would be challenging.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's all the guys we have, David. I have one more image that's just sort of iconic, and we can't really remember him because he hasn't left us yet.
Okay.
But what's your initial reaction to this? Do you remember the shark?
I guess I do remember the shark. Who is this? Not Jeff Samardzija?
It's Jeff Samardzija.
That
recreating the iconic Bo Jackson photo.
The image looks like it's from he looks like the bad guy in like 3 O'Clock High.
So I think this is while he was still at Notre Dame, and this was his attempt at marketing himself, as the next Bo Jackson, which, as we all know, is exactly what happened.
It worked. Yeah.
He succeeded.
It was a bold venture, and yet he succeeded greatly. The oiling him up must have been an interesting job. It's definitely an interesting choice.
And I like that he's not especially ripped, but he still chose to oil himself up.
I think that's the part of it that I respect the most too. Like he looks definitely like meaner, but not notably more imposing than I would if I were asked to pose in a similar fashion.
It's a flex, man. It's a whole vibe.
His whole aesthetic is great to me. That kind of like wet look. Like I associate it with like kind of like Southern Cali, like Weaver brother, like sort of vibes. But I think he is like a Midwestern dude.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Long may he wave. That guy's still got probably just like 5 more years of guaranteed multi-million-dollar contracts coming.
Yeah, he'll likely be playing for the Giants for that entire time.
Yeah, this is fantastic. But I don't think I had seen this image before, and it is truly breathtaking.
It is. Well, I'm glad I could brighten your day a little bit.
Yeah, thanks. I needed this. Like it's been difficult. I haven't been able to spend the time I usually spend looking at pictures of Jeff Samardzija.
We all have made sacrifices during this pandemic.
All gave some. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, as always.
Oh my God. Thank you for taking some time to recall several baseball men with us.
It's my honor. I'd do it again tomorrow, man. This is
right. It's a date. We'll see you at 1.
All right. See you
later.
Bye.